Kings and queens, your majesties, we're here today again. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well and you are loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my team subscribers. You are loved, celebrated and appreciated. So I want us to do something about this book here. I know some of you have gone through this book and some of you refer me to this book most of the times when I talk about the continent of Africa. Oh, you have to go through How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, okay, by Walter Rodney. Okay, now there is a lot in this book. In as much as I think the writer tried to just maybe the evil that the Europeans did to the motherland is so much. So it's like the writer tried to maybe justify some things, try to give reasons why that has to be done, and but he couldn't just even hide the fact that they were the ones that destroyed the motherland. So when you are running today to Europe, you are running today to America, you have to know that they destroyed Africa. They are still destroying Africa. Even when we try our best to pull our heads up, we have saviors who have been coming, we have messiahs who have been coming from time to time. They keep killing our messiahs, they keep destroying us. Why? Because they want us to keep remaining down there so that they can grow and become a first world country and then move around bragging and saying that Africa is a third world continent. Oh my goodness. Now, where I want us to deliberate more upon is the part of education, because there are lots of instances given here how Europe underdeveloped Africa, but I want us to talk more about education. There are clips I'm going to show you about Africans, young African men and women who are beginning to see the evil that Europe and America did to rest. Okay, so before I go into the book, I want us to listen to this young man and we will continue, okay?
All the Western institutions in Africa create poverty. The poverty is sustained by rewarding a few people and encouraging the masses of the people to work hard to be among the few, thereby expanding individualism. Poverty is intentional because money is employed to force the wise people to act foolish and get handsomely paid for being stupid, for advertising stupidity. Because I've told people that Western education is the introduction of poverty in Africa. Before the Western education came to Africa, all African youth and young boys was employed. And then the evil Western education happened. And we now deviated from a way by which we are already productive, solve our problem, and we begin to read memory. People that learn how to speak English language that cannot solve problem. Literally, the black man know that the white man did not consider his language much more than the monkeys in the bush consider their own language, or the noise the squirrels are making to communicate to themselves. Africans has been mentored in the way that we pay to go and learn language as a means of solving our own problem, thereby establishing massive number of unemployed people and poverty in a society that has already have a culture that makes everybody independent. Because before the white man came, everything we use as the black people, we manufacture and we produce them by ourselves. The white man did a very, very difficult, vital work in making sure that he raided all those manufacturing companies. Those that do blacksmith, their blacksmith were taken away from them. Every people that do it with productivity was wiped off and taken away as an artifact. And today, African graduates I have too many numerous of my friends today that are doing job of 50, 60,000 naira. That's how bad it is, because money has been actually put there to incentivize the people to pursue stupidity, to pursue foolishness. So the wise people among us are actually forced to go and pass through that education system so that they can actually become receiving payment for speaking English. So today the university hold the most stupid and foolish people in the society. I've told people, if you have not seen a stupid person in the world, follow me to the university. Let me show you the university professors and the university doctors. Those are the people that have studied over 20-something years of their life, taught over 20-something years, and they are only speaking English language. They are not asking themselves, if I'm actually very knowledgeable, this knowledge I have, what problem can it solve for my people? If the government stop paying the old man his salary, the old man begin to complain. Before you know it, he's going on strike. And even on that strike, he will be complaining because he's pressured by hunger. Why? The knowledge he claims he have as a professor cannot solve any problem in the environment. All our drug is imported and everything imported, and we live in a nation we say we have education, because the white man did not create education to open knowledge. Education was created to hide, to create the secrecy of knowledge, because you hear that he chose the foolish things of this world to shame the wise people. So the wisdom is propagated and incentivized for mass of people to follow it. So we produce numerous graduates every year that are just jobless and helpless, because the education or the white man institution in Africa was meant to bring great poverty, increase capitalism, individualism. And this is direct opposite of the way the African man lives. Starting from our government, we are not people that are created to compete. Our culture is corporate, communism. Democracy is competition. We are not capitalists, we are communism. Capitalism is individual progress. Communism is collective progress of the people. And so we must return back to our own way of...
Africa was never poor. We were never a poor people. We had what we had. We were living peacefully before European involvement. Okay? Now there is something he said that's I felt it's deeply in me. He said, Western education is the introduction of poverty in Africa. We were never poor. And that is why we have multi-geniuses like Imhotep, where the Europeans came in, they flocked into the motherland to study. And later on, when they discovered that a lot of people are now attesting to the fact that they studied a lot from Egypt, they got most of their knowledge from Egypt, they told you that Egypt is not black, Egypt is white. They tried their best to erase everything that can draw you to the melanated history of Egypt. They make you feel like Egypt is a white man's land, and then implant people there. People who are not of even Egyptian origin, they are not of African origin. They implant them there, pay them so that they can propagate the white Egypt to you, your majesties. And it's quite unfortunate. Of Africans, a lot of melanated people are in the denial of the fact that we are this powerful, this knowledgeable, this intelligent, and everything. Okay, because they tell you, oh, if that's the case, why is it that now it's not happening? Everything that we do, we have to go to Europe and America to learn it. Read books, study, go back to histories. They are there. The informations are there. They might be hidden. They might just try their best to make these books a bit somehow not available, but they are there. Just put in the effort, you get to know the whole truth, your majesties. We were never poor people. We are never a poor people. Africa was rich, is still rich, and will always be rich, because our resources is something that will never finish, no matter how Europe and America try their best. Because we are the celestial zone of the planet, of the world. Okay? So Western education, like he said, like the young man said, is the introduction of poverty. Goodness me, your majesties, like our educational, I think I've been talking about educational system here. Our educational system as the African people is polluted, is adulterated. There's nothing. Like when you graduate from the university, you think you've known it, or maybe you've known it to some part. But when you begin to realize the reality of the world, you just discover that you've not even started though. You have not started. They're just deceivers. They're deceivers to go waste our time, waste our youth, waste some part of our years that we could easily learn things. We use it to learn things that are not important. And then when we are being faced with the reality, it will be so difficult for us to understand and assimilate it, because already they have piled our heads with things that are not, this all are misinformation, your majesties, about who we are, about how the world really operates. And that's what I'm going to take your minds to today. I'm going to read from page, I'm going to see if I can get a picture of this and put it out there. Page 297, your majesties, and it's talking about education for underdevelopment. Europe brought in education to underdevelop Africa. And that's exactly what the young man said, that Western education is the introduction of poverty in the motherland. So, the colonizers did not introduce education into Africa, okay? We were already educated people. This is not from my mouth. This is not from me, because when I keep saying it to be like, oh, I'm overhyping the motherland, I'm not even doing enough. I'm not doing enough. Okay? We had a system. We had an organized system before Europe and America came and destroyed us. And how did they come in? How were they successful? We talk about these things here. It's not just about the physical. This thing involves spiritual as well. Okay, Your Majesties? They introduced a new set of formal educational institutions which partly supplemented and partly replaced those which were there before. They replaced most of our educational system, Your Majesties. They brought new set of formal educations. Okay? The colonial system also stimulated values and practices which amounted to new informal education. We had a set of values, we had principles, we had a way of life, a way of worship. We knew there was a creator, that creative force that was in charge of everything created. We know all these things, and we value community life. Communism, that's still what the young man said. So all we do, we think of how the community, the good of the community, not just for one person. But now, look at us today. We are living in a system where one man wants to siphon everything that belongs to the community. And then you call this democracy. Oh my goodness, Your Majesties. Like, they turned the motherland upside down, and it is for a fact. Okay? So some of you who might not have read it, you can go check it out. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. That is the name of the person. So the main purpose of colonial school system was to train Africans to help man the local administration at the lowest ranks, and to private capitalist firms owned by Europeans. So they brought in colonial educational system so they can train people who can just be overseers to some of these companies that they own. Just so that they can have the knowledge that they want them to have to do this, to do that, and also, you know, manipulate them on how they can also steal from their own family, from their motherland, and give it out to their colonial masters. This was the reasons why European colonial educational system was introduced into Africa. Okay, in effect, that means selecting a few Africans to participate in the domination and exploitation of the continent as a whole. It's not from my mouth, it's from this book. So they had to bring in this their system to just teach you for their own sake, not for your sake. And to manipulate you, to teach you those tactics. How to steal from the continent and go and give to them. I'm not surprised, because all our leaders in the motherland have banks outside they have savings outside the continent. They steal money here, they go and save it in Swiss bank, or what do you call those banks? They go and save it there. They steal from here, they go and put it outside. They steal from here, they go and develop outside. So this is the reason why they are doing that, because this is what the Europeans wanted. They planned for it already, and that's why it is happening. Okay, there is a lot here which if you get the book yourself, you study through, or you have it, you can go back to check it again. Your Majesties, the truth is here before your faces. Okay, it was not an educational system that grew out of the African environment. Are you hearing me? This present educational system we have, this present school system we have, the ones that our ancestors of some years went to, is not our system. Is what was introduced, and it was introduced for selfish interest. Okay, so it was not educational system that grew out of the African environment, or one that was designed to promote the most rational use of material and social resources. It was an educational system designed to give young people confidence and pride as members of the African society, but one which sought to instill a sense of defense towards all that was by the capitalist class. The same class bias was automatically transferred to Africa. And to make matters worse, the racism and cultural boastfulness harbored by capitalism were also schooling were also included in the package of colonial education. So colonial schooling was education for subordination, exploitation, and the creation of mental confusion for the African people. Hey, hey. I hope you heard. My people, there is nothing that is coming from Europe and America that is for our good. The earlier we realize this, the better. Both their schooling system and the religion, you think most of you, they have jumping and smiling that Europe brought you Christianity. They brought you what. Everything that came from that region is not of our good. The earlier we realize it, the better for us. Give your thoughts and opinion there at the section, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always, Your Majesties. Bye for now.